It's showtime, folks. Welcome in, Chase and Big Joe, 1025, 1063, the game here on this Friday. Hope you're having a great start to your day. He's Big Joe Dubin. I'm Chase McCabe, Dr. Crane, Nick Frazier on the ones and twos. What's up, JoJo?
The studio elves were in last night moving things around, or gremlins or gnomes, whatever. So it's good, man. Friday's here, short week, ready to get it going on before we all don't leave the house for 2 weeks when 9 feet of snow shows up on Sunday.
It's gonna be something. Yeah, it's gonna be something like that. I don't know. I just this time of year, you just kind of enjoy the ride. That's all you can do.
You know, thank you for that, because people are, I can't believe it's January. If it was 90 degrees out, we should be worried.
Yeah.
This is what January does. And don't come at me with climate can change. It's January. It snows in January. It's cold. It's what it does.
Well, and the other thing too is, with the snow, like I love the people like, well, why doesn't Leland Stadium know what's going on? Even though they never yell at him about anything, but you know what I mean? Like it's like, why don't these weather people know what's going on?
I wish I was wrong all the time.
It's hard to forecast winter weather in Nashville, Tennessee.
It really is.
So, just
you go to the game Sunday, buddy?
Take a deep breath and enjoy the ride. What is Sunday?
You going to the game?
What game?
When it's going to be 28 degrees and icing? Be a lot of fun.
The football game?
Yeah.
Oh, hell no. No, I'm not. I will not be there. I have gone to my final event at Nissan Stadium this year, or this football season.
Damn it! I almost had you. I get it. Yeah, I get it. Look, if somebody offered you 4 passes in a suite and parking pass, would you go?
I would ask them what I did to them.
Right, no, I'm not going.
What did I do? What did I do to offend you, sir or ma'am? No, I'm done. I'm ready to get into the off season and talk about the quarterback for 4 months and right tackle and all that stuff.
So we will see what was it Black Monday coming on Monday?
Yeah. I mean, it is kind of it's not fun because obviously people are losing their jobs, but they'll be okay because most of them will get, some sort of other job again. But, I think it's pretty safe to say Jacksonville, that's going to open up. Probably the Giants, that's going to open up.
What happened to him? He was like the hottest thing. Dave Ball.
Yeah. I was a buddy of mine and I were talking about that.
Buddy.
And, it's just, it was the Daniel Jones thing. They signed Daniel Jones to this contract that everybody knew was going to be a bad contract, but they almost had no choice to do it. And so he doesn't have the quarterback. What I think is going to end up happening is Joe Brady, who's the current offensive coordinator for Buffalo. He's probably going to get a head coaching job.
Not in New York. He's not.
And then Dayball will go back.
Because Dayball came from Buffalo. They're like,
right. That's what I'm saying. I think if Joe Brady leaves, then Dayball goes back as the OC with Buffalo.
We'll find out. There'll be a lot of things happening. I'm unsure what happens here on Monday or Tuesday. Who knows?
I don't think there's a coaching change here. I think there's staff changes. I think he will have to make some staff changes. The one that I'm watching is Ran Carthon because I believe he's going to be out. But I just think that means Chad Brinker is going to have full control.
Who knows, man? All I know is that wherever Mike Vrabel lands, please be on the Titans schedule for 25.
Oh, boy.
And it's here at home. Because his comments, who did the article with him? He spoke. I don't know who wrote the article.
When?
Last night? It came out last night or today?
Oh, really?
He spoke about, and he threw a lot of shade at Titans and ownership and some things that went on.
Well, he's interviewing for the Jets job.
Correct.
Today.
I heard Robbie and Rex talking about it this morning. My favorite show.
Yeah. Well, it's a good show.
It's a great show. Robbie, so handsome.
I did not know that Vrabel talked.
Is it on there?
I can't know. I don't see anything on it. I just see that he's interviewing for the Jets job.
Oh, I was under the impression that he did an interview and spoke because they were talking about that. Damn it, why don't we bring this up at our pre-show meeting?
I don't know.
Okay. Anyway, so that's
Vrabel is expected to be a candidate for every opening in the NFL.
Well, yeah. Right? Because I think the nice guy coaching tree ain't working.
No.
It ain't working. And it's funny, like somebody said, well, Andy Reid's a nice guy. Andy Reid's like a hard ass on those guys.
Yeah.
And
he's a nice guy, but I mean, he's tough. He's a tough coach.
Right. And so I think Vrabel is needed in the National Football League. That attitude is needed. The nice guy. What would have happened, Chase, the day we were out there when Jeffrey Simmons spouts off and Brian Callahan says, "Oh, that's okay." What would Mike Vrabel have done?
Well, he'd have thrown his ass out of practice for one.
Immediately.
Like that thing with Buck never would have happened because Vrabel would have thrown him out of practice.
Yep, that's right.
Like that.
Pretty simple.
Yeah, I mean, and I think if you're Brian Callahan, you go back and you look at that moment, you go, "Yeah, I made a mistake."
Oh, we knew immediately.
Yeah, like what are you doing? Like you throw a guy. Jeff Fisher would have thrown him out.
Yeah,
I mean, we've seen it. So I mean, if the ref that's there says if this was a game, I would have tossed you, and the coach doesn't throw you out of practice, that's saying something.
Again, we're not tooting our horn, and I wish we were wrong. Trust me, I wish we were wrong. But Chase and I both sat there practice that day and said, "This is not good. You're letting the inmates run the asylum, right? Now they call that.
Yep.
Yeah. You should have tossed his ass out of practice. Don't brought everybody together. Don't do it again. You'll suffer the same fate." Didn't happen though.
Or remember they had the sand pit of doom. That was a thing that Vrabel had. They had to go work out in the sand pit.
Yeah,
He would have
right.
sent him to the sand pit.
Yep.
The sand pit of doom.
Yeah.
The sand
That
pit,
one.
of doom.
We had that. Thing.
How'd you find that so quickly?
That was good.
I just remembered, one of the hotkeys. I was like, wait a minute,
Yeah.
I know that's a hotkey.
Oh, that's awesome, man.
Yeah. I kind of missed the sand pit of doom.
I like that sounder, man. That's up there with "we don't care."
Yeah.
No, we absolutely don't care. I like that.
Here to tell you right now, but we don't care.
I'm here to tell you right now, we don't care.
Let me tell you
We don't care.
That's so great, man.
Oh, it's a good one. You can always weigh in on our phone and text line, driven by WilsonCountyHonda.com, 615-737-1025. Dylan says, the way Big Joe enunciates certain fans sometimes reminds me of Todd Packer from The Office, but a more charming version.
Sorry. Turn the mic on. Read that again. What? Can't get the mic to go.
All right, Rex Road. Dylan says, the way Big Joe enunciates certain fans sometimes reminds me of Todd Packer from The Office, but a more charming version.
Todd Packer's one of the all-time great characters on TV to do all that.
He really is. Georgia gets absolutely shellacked against Notre Dame last night, so Notre Dame will move on to the semifinals. Don't give me – I mean, look, were there some missed calls? Okay, there were. But
Georgia handed that game.
Georgia did not play well. I didn't put it on the quarterback either.
No.
I thought the quarterback was fine.
Somebody tried to blame the quarterback when he got knocked down at the end of the first half. The left tackle couldn't block. He got beat on the play. Why are you passing the ball? And Kirby's like, yeah, we try to be aggressive. Wasn't smart right there. I'm like, no, just go to halftime.
So here's my thing. I don't say this often. This is not said a lot. I think Kirby Smart got outcoached. I think Marcus Freeman outcoached Kirby Smart.
Marcus Freeman, that's a good coach, man. He's his players play with him.
I like him. I really do. And like, what do you think? What do you think old Brian Kelly's thinking right now? Like sitting, he just got done with.
Well, I'm at Cracker Barrel. I don't know.
He just got done with what?
I didn't say anything.
Oh, I thought you were talking to us.
No.
I just saw your mouth moving back there, and I was like, I don't hear anything. Old Brian Kelly, leaves that job, and Freeman takes over, and everybody thinks, this won't last long. He just, because it was at that point in the season, and now he's got his team in the national semifinal.
Oh, that's great. They played well. That defense is suffocating. We forgot about Notre Dame because they got beat by Northern Illinois. Like, you got beat. But look, man, all the top 4 seeds are gone. The first round bye teams are all gone. They got 5, 6, 7, 8. Shaping up fine. Notre Dame, Penn State, the
5,
Orange
6,
Bowl.
7, 8.
Yeah. All right. And then you have Oregon, you have Ohio State and Texas in the Cotton Bowl. So, look, man, those were the 4 that probably would have been there anyway. So it worked out just the way it should.
And and here's what's funny. And I know there are certain people that are going to be doing a victory lap because the SEC, there's only one SEC team left. And I feel like that it probably is going to shape up to be Ohio State and Notre Dame. It just kind of feels that way at this point.
But I mean, have we really taken Texas in the SEC yet?
No.
It's just like we need a couple of years, right?
But I mean, look, the SEC bias exists because it's been true. Like this might be the first year, or this year with this playoff, how it's all worked out, where it won't be. I know they didn't win it last year. Michigan won last year. They weren't in the championship game last year. So
Yeah.
the last couple of years, okay, it hasn't worked out that way.
And some are taking their victory lap because,
And that's
I don't
fine. Take your
care.
victory lap. But the truth of the matter remains, the SEC is still the best conference.
It is.
There were 3 teams that
You're
didn't make the playoff because of the result of the SEC being so good that it cannibalized itself.
Preach, baby, preach. All right, Chaser. Today is an important day.
Yeah, you're ready. You're ready to jump into this.
We got this. Today is an important day in the history of the Tennessee Titans. So I want you to turn your radio up. Don't say anything. And listen to what we got to do right here. On this day, 21 years ago, January the 3rd, 2004, one of the greatest victories in Tennessee Titans history took place. They called upon a 67-year-old, 4'6" man who was living in a remote fishing village in Northern Europe. His name was Gary Anderson. He was called by Jeff Fisher to come save the football team.
Hey, Gary, we need you to come to Nashville and just save us.
This is what happened 21 years ago today. And I think, excluding the Music City Miracle, this is the greatest victory the Tennessee Titans have had since they moved here.
It's good. It never looked like it had a chance. The 44-year-old kicker, Gary
67.
Anderson's dramatic field goal from 46 yards out gives Tennessee a 20-17 win over Baltimore.
It's funny. You make the joke that he's 67. He now is 65.
He's 65. So our question is, in your honest, lovable opinion, what do you think is the greatest win the Titans have had since they moved here since 1999, excluding the Music City Miracle?
Ooh.
What do you think is the greatest victory the Titans have had since they moved here in 1999? Mine is that one right there. Now, beating Jacksonville to go to the Super Bowl is a huge win because you got to the Super Bowl. I get all that. But for me, on that cold January night, after this football team, the Ravens, had taken your soul 3 years earlier when you were the best team in football, to get redemption on a cold Saturday night in Baltimore is the greatest victory, I think, since they moved here.
That is a good one. 615-737-1025. It used to be hanging in the press box, but there was a great picture of Derek Mason, our own Derek Mason, hugging Gary Anderson right after that kick.
They're about the same size, aren't they?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, probably. But I took a picture of it and sent it to Derek one time because, Derek on the air basically said he hated kickers. He was still mad at it. He was still mad at Al Del Greco,
right,
for missing in that playoff game and in the Super Bowl.
That's right.
For missing kicks, and there was something, he had some beef with Nedney about something, and then I brought up Gary Anderson. He's like, "No, Gary's cool."
Wasn't before that? Wasn't Mason? Didn't Derek catch a pass to set up the field goal?
He did.
Yeah.
Yep.
So we were listening at this morning. So that's it. That's our question. 615-737-1025. What do you think is the greatest win in Titans victory coming off what happened 21 years ago today?
I have mine, and I will tell it to you coming up next. It's Chasing Big Joe here on a Friday, 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
Oh, wow. On its way. He got it! 7 seconds to play. The Titans have grabbed a 3-point lead. And run time off the clock. Yeah, there it goes. Grabbed and shoveled backwards. And here we go. And no one to throw it to. That ball is down. And the game is over.
60-yard field goal. Rob Baronis at Nissan Stadium. Handsome Creed bringing us back this morning. Chasing Big Joe, 102.5, 106.3 the game. You talk about great Titan wins.
That's all.
That's one of my all-time favorites. And was that Greg Gumbel? It kind of sounded like him. The late Greg Gumbel that we lost.
Was it Dan Beerdorf?
I think it was Greg and Dan, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, that just
that were on that game.
Creed, man, and that you put this whole clip is beautiful. Yeah. I'll never forget 60-yarder because that was against the Colts. Colts won the Super Bowl.
Yep.
And we were all in the press box. I'll never forget, Chase. I'll never forget because we were all going, there's no way Jeff Fisher kicks this. There's no way.
And he played Dungy perfectly. And Tony Dungy after the game said, I totally fell for it. Because if you remember, and I was there with my dad, that's why it's one of my favorite moments. Jeff sends the field goal team out, and Dungy and then calls a timeout, I think is what it was. Or Dungy somebody called a timeout. And then the punt team goes back on. Dungy calls a timeout. Then he sent, which was his last timeout, and then Jeff sent the field goal team back on for a 60-yard field goal. And everybody in the stadium was just like, he's really going to try this. I mean, that's
right.
I mean, it was like he was past the logo at midfield to kick this thing.
How appropriate that your favorite moment, my favorite moment,
or kicks,
are field goals, and it comes to Fisher, right? I mean, it's field goal Fisher for a reason. And that was a great one for Baronis. Just because we were all like,
and that Titans team wasn't very good.
They battled. You're right. They were not good. Vince Young. I mean,
was
they
got 06.
Yeah, they got the ball to the 43. I'll never forget. And time was running. I'm like, he's going to try to pin him deep or whatever it was. And then Baronis just nailed that field goal, and they win the game.
Was that the year that it was Vince's rookie year?
Correct.
And so was that the year that they needed like 8 things to happen, including them beating the Patriots, and they didn't beat the Patriots?
And like 7 happened, and the one was beating the Patriots into the year. And that's the one where
or did they make it against the Chargers? Or was that
was 07?
That was 07.
Yeah, 06 that's also the game. Was that the game where Rodney Harrison blamed Fisher for late hits and Steve Watterson threw chicken broth in the face of a Patriots player? I mean, it was all psychotic stuff that went on. But yeah, they needed like 7 things.
Yeah, that was it. And the last game of the year was here against New England, and they lost 40-23 to go 8-8.
And didn't Belichick put Testaverde in to break some record?
I think so.
Pissed off Fisher.
Yeah, I don't even know if Brady played.
Yeah. I think it was Testaverde. He did something in that game, became the oldest quarterback to do something. I don't remember what it was.
Well, hang on, I'll tell you. So let's see. Baronis hit a 25-yard field goal to start. Corey Dillon was in that game.
Corey Dillon played for both Patriots and the Titans.
Pac-Man returned one. I don't know if Vinny. Yeah. Troy Brown caught a 6-yard pass from Vinny Testaverde.
Yeah, who was like unneeded. And
yeah.
So he got that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ed Hockley was the ref that day.
Oh, was he?
Yeah.
So that was crazy. But these moments, but you know what? We talk about this. You go into the game on Sundays, this being like possibly the worst football team ever been in Tennessee compared to 2014. But there were moments along the way where this, believe it or not, folks, this team won big football games, and it was exciting to go see them play. And we've given you 2 examples from the playoffs and the 03 season and the Rob Baronis one. I'm just curious what your favorite biggest victory is.
We got a few. Koya and Clarksville, Titans versus the Giants, Pac-Man winning the game. Was that was probably 06.
or 05?
maybe 05.
06 was the one where they were down 21-0 and rallied, and Vince rallied them down the game. Did Pac-Man do something?
I
in that
think
game?
Pac-Man did have a return in that game.
I thought he was okay. All right, I will.
But I could be wrong. Hair Metal Henry, the greatest Titans win ever was getting daddy dogs at the stadium.
Only he would come with that.
Dylan says when Ryan Tannehill took over midseason and everyone counted the Titans out, they went on to the playoffs and smoked the Ravens as well as Tom Brady and the Patriots, the best back-to-back wins in Titans history. That was pretty special.
Nobody. No, I mean, you might have thought, yeah, Patriots maybe, but back-to-back doing that, I didn't expect to see you in Kansas City.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, man.
No. Chris and Dixon beating Tom Brady and the Pats in the playoffs, watching Vrabel out-coach Belichick was the greatest win ever.
Love it.
And he did. And Logan Ryan intercepted Brady to end the dynasty. Yeah, a lot of people saying the Titans beating the Patriots. Here's a good one. Marlon from Murfreesboro beating Pittsburgh in the divisional round in 2003, watching the game with Dad, and he couldn't stop laughing at the kicker flop.
Oh, yeah.
Joe Nedney.
Yep, that's right. And the fireworks went off and everything.
Yep.
He missed it, right? Did he miss the field goal? Did he miss? Did he miss a field goal and he did the flop and they came back out there?
Yeah.
Yeah,
He
'cause
did.
they all
He kicked it
celebrate-
like 3 times.
Yeah, that's right. He did. Oh, man.
Josh and Donaldson says, my Irish whooped your dogs, and we're still talking about the Titans. God bless y'all. Nobody's a Georgia fan on this show.
No,
I don't know what you're talking about.
but we talked about it, Josh.
And we did.
Damn it.
Yeah, we did, Josh. So
Don't make me go all George Plaster on you.
Hopefully, he's not going to get me mixed up with the Mississippi State Bulldogs because I am a
yeah,
Bulldogs
probably.
fan.
Yeah,
Maybe.
yeah, maybe.
Nice
Yeah.
job, Josh.
Josh, you should know your facts before you know.
Yeah,
all this
Josh.
trash
And
talk.
by the way, I run a lot of things in Donaldson. Don't make me,
yeah,
right?
he'll get you kicked out of
don't make
Donaldson.
me,
He's the mayor.
right? You're not that guy. What's that? You're not that
You're
guy.
not that guy, pal.
That's it.
Not that guy. 9064, I guess talking about the Baronis kick, says that kick quite literally saved my parents' marriage. Still together today. A couple of rest in peace for Rob Baronis. That's a good one. Another Dylan says, my favorite memory was being at the game in 09. I think where VY converted 4 fourth downs to beat the Cardinals.
Was that? Yeah, that's right.
Was that 2009?
Yeah, because he hit Kenny Britt. Kenny Britt was
Oh,
a first round
yeah,
draft
yeah.
choice in 09, the back of the end zone. Vince had flashes of greatness, man.
He did. Mike in Lebanon, what year did the Titans beat the Steelers on a Thursday night with a last-second field goal? I know what he's
12
talking
or
about.
13. There's
Because
a Munchak.
Pittsburgh was really good.
Yep. Yeah, and
That would have been like
13.
Munchak.
It was.
I think it was a Munchak team. So like 12 or 13. 13. I think it was 13.
Right. Because I'm getting confused with the game where Baronis against the Jets missed the field goal and he couldn't find his helmet.
Yeah. I think it was 2013. And here's why I remember that. Because I was working overnights and I had like fallen asleep to get like a nap in because I had to come in and work all night. And as I woke up, they're lining up to kick the field goal. And I'm like, wait, they're going to win this game?
Producers here at 1025 know that it's okay to take a nap sometimes, right, Chase?
Yeah, it is.
It's
fine.
You worked your ass off back then, though. I'll give that to you.
Let's see. Andrew from Dover says, I agree with both of y'all's games. Always loved Eddie versus Ray Lewis back then. And I was always at the game against the Colts with my mom. Or I was also at that one. She told me to get in the car that morning, didn't know where we were going. All of a sudden, I'm at the Titans game with one of the greatest moments I've witnessed. That was a good one, for sure. We'll get to more of these. Josh and Donaldson says,
2000 Sorry.
I am Donaldson. Come with it, Joe.
Oh, my God. 2012, they beat the Steelers 26-23 on a Thursday night. 2013, the opening game of the season, they lost at Pittsburgh when Darius Renard took the opening kick off the 2-yard line and backed into the end zone and kneeled. And that was the safety.
Oh, yeah.
2013.
Oh, woof.
There have been some moments, man.
Coming up next, Sean Henry going to join us from the Nashville Predators, the CEO. We'll get his thoughts on things going on and tell you about some cool stuff coming up at Bridgestone Arena. That's all ahead. Chasing Big Joe, presented by the Omni Nashville Hotel, 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
Fire it all.
Chasing Big Joe, 102.5, 106.3, The Game here on this Friday. Always enjoy talking to our next guest, Sean Henry, the CEO of the Nashville Predators, who joins us now. Sean, Happy New Year. How you doing?
Doing well. How are you guys? Happy New Year.
We are doing fantastic. Ready to watch some late night hockey tonight and tomorrow, and hopefully bring back 4 points out of those two games. But this road trip will still be going on. I feel like they're going to be gone forever until January 11th when back at Bridgestone Arena. We were just talking about some great Titans wins. Do you have a favorite Preds win, or are they kind of like your kids and you can't pick a favorite one? But is there one that stands out?
Yeah, there really is. I came here in 2010. Got here Labor Day weekend. My family didn't come until, I guess, November, after the first semester was over in school. But they came up in October for maybe our second game of the season. We're playing Chicago. And at the time, when I was consulting for a few different teams in Lightning, my youngest son became a Blackhawk fan. And so we're playing the Blackhawks. And, of course, he was all in for the Preds. He was wearing a Shea Weber jersey. And I forget the exact score, but maybe with 5 minutes left, we were losing 3-0. And then maybe you remember the game. It was my first standing ovation, and I didn't understand it because we were losing 3-0, I think. And all of a sudden, the fans get on their feet, and we're sitting in the end zone. My son was 10 years old, 15, 3, and 6 for all my kids. And so we're all standing. I'm like, what is going on? Like, we're losing 3-0. We're about to lose to the defending Stanley Cup champs. And right out of that, Weber scores. A couple of minutes later, I forget who scored. I think it was Smithson scored another one. And then Weber, after someone called a timeout, not a TV timeout, no standing ovation. And then Weber scored to tie it up with maybe, 4 seconds left. I'm sure I'm exaggerating everything I just said. But then we won it in overtime, like right away, like just right off the puck drop. And the place exploded. And that's when I realized just how cool this move was going to be for me and my family. And that moment, my son just wore number 6 in everything he did. Every sport he played got switched from 99 to 6. And it was fun.
So with this, does let's see, I just pulled this up. Does October 13th, 2010 sound right?
There you go. That's it exactly. What was the final score? Tell me how wrong I was on everything I just said, because I'm sure I was.
Well, actually,
wrong.
no, this isn't it, because this would be in Chicago. But it wasn't
It was a home game.
Yeah, it was an overtime win. Yeah, I'll have to see if I can find it. But I think
prove me a truther, not a liar. Okay.
I do remember this game. I know you're right, because I remember like Shea Weber.
My family's first game together. That's what I remember most about it, and that's what I always talk about with memorable games. You actually don't remember the score normally. You don't even remember too many things from the game. You remember who you're with, where you're sitting, what happened, what they were wearing, and that's what's cool about sports, I think.
Yeah, well, like for me, it's when, and I guess it would have been 2012, the final game against Detroit in the playoffs, when it was kind of like, the iconic picture of Shea Weber. It was like the passing of the torch, but I was there with my dad, and it was like, we finally beat Big Brother. Like that's kind of what it felt like, of all those years. And that's why I miss Detroit being in the Western Conference so much, because I miss those battles, because it meant so much, in the early days of the franchise.
Yeah, it's funny. I think every young franchise can point to that win, and it might have been a regular season win, maybe a playoff series win that transforms who you are. And I remember when I was in Tampa, it was us beating Philadelphia. It was the same thing. They used to bully us, tease us, steal our players, offer sheet our players. It was awful. And you beat them in the playoffs. It was that same thing. It was the handshake, not so much even the 7 games of that series or 6 versus Chicago. It's just something about beating the team that you wanted to be, first and foremost, right? You wanted to have the success that they had. And to step past that, it's something in both cases. But, yeah, there's no doubt. That handshake picture is incredible. It's funny, though. We both talked about memories with Shea Weber, and how fitting is it that in 2 weeks we're going to be honoring Shea Weber, Pekka Rinne, and David Poile in the Golden Hall. And that was not even a setup. That was just natural from the heart, wasn't it?
And it worked out perfectly, because I was going there next. I'm excited about that. I think, any Preds fans should be excited about it, but especially the ones that, have been around since the beginning or the early days, to see those 3, you can use the word pillars, just, pave the way, whatever you want to do to describe those 3. For you all to make them the first class of the Golden Hall, makes so much sense. There's no other people that should be in consideration for that. So I know it's going to be special. It's going to be a special couple of days, for you, for the franchise as a whole, really to have those three back in Smashville, but also to honor them in a way that they deserve.
Yeah, it really will be special. And, I was fortunate enough to be on the Zoom call when we broke the news to Shea and Becky, kind of had them do it to each other or tricked them. The best part was talking to each one of them, asking them to invite the other person or let them know they're being inducted. And they were both so excited about that on its own. The shame about the video, I wasn't even on video. I was leaving a doctor and some stitches under my eye. And I thought I was on video and I was afraid of what I would look like. But unfortunately or unfortunately, I wasn't. But it was really neat to see the love they have for each other and the passion they both have for this organization, the city. But those three guys, David was the architect that brought the team here and decided what type of a team we were going to be, what type of people we were going to be. And, when we first started turning the corner on becoming a better team, we're fortunate to host that draft that Shea Weber was drafted in, which is pretty fitting as well. And then obviously when Pecky came along, kind of defined what we could be and brought us to our highest heights to date, whether it be a Stanley Cup or President's Trophy or just a consistent playoff appearance team. Those guys mean it all. And, for Shea, he hasn't played here in 8 years, or I guess 9 years now as we turn the corner on 2025. But it's hard to think about the Preds without thinking about number 6 and the C on his chest.
We were talking to famous Broadway street musician Sean Henry on the Chase and Big Joe show. All right, I got a question for you, and I want you to answer this honestly, and you don't have to name names. Have you ever got into an argument at Bridgestone with an opposing team's management, say their owner or GM or somebody? Have you ever?
First of all, I always answer your questions honestly, Joe. Good God. Suggesting that I should answer it honestly implies otherwise.
Right.
You know what? As much as you hate every other team in theory, you have a lot of good friends with other teams. It's just the way it is. We kind of all grew up together, worked for some different teams, crossed paths, helped each other here or there. But like in all things, there are a couple of people you just can't stomach in your life. You can't. You don't even like being around them, right? And have there been some cryptic words, sarcastic words that build into harsh words that build into some vulgarity? Maybe for other people, I don't know. For me, of course not. But there have been a handful of small incidents where guys think they're on the ice and they want to bring that same type of an edge. We always try to treat people really well. What we always say is if you're bringing your sponsors here, your parents' trip here, or having a special night of players getting his 1,000th game, we want to make sure it's special for you. Now, that doesn't mean we're going to deliver you, cotton balls in your locker room. But we try to be good sports. But there have been a few guys that you cross in this league that, you just don't like. It's the way the world is. But of the 32 teams, guys in my position, we all pretty much like each other with the exception of 2 people. It's pretty universal who they are. And that changes every few years. But yeah, there are some boners, of course. I got in trouble once for calling one of them a schmuck on the radio, which, by the way, not a bad word.
No. Yeah, right.
To clear it up before my son starts yelling at me again. But he was. And I don't know. I guess sometimes when you act like a fool, you should be called out. And sometimes I've acted like a fool, as you both know. And it's okay when people call you out for it. So, yeah, of course it happens a little bit. Just like I know you've had some brushes with, your colleagues in the media industry trying to elbow in front of you and getting a better shot. And Beasley was always pushing you around and bullying you.
We had that step ladder, so he's put it on my foot. and I
never
asked,
understood.
Well, I asked because I remember in 2017, the Pittsburgh media claimed that you guys were piping music into the fake noise. Remember that? They were like, oh, it's off. And
Vegas pulled that too.
And it came to the point where like some people in the Pittsburgh organization were saying that Bridgestone Arena, they're piping this music. No way it's that loud. And then they started attacking us, the media. We're like, we're just here to cover the game. It escalated to a point where had it gone back to Pittsburgh, I'm not sure fists might not have been flying up there.
It was funny. That was a fun series. Of course, I wish we won 2 more games. They got what we wanted. They won their 3rd cup in that stretch, 5th overall. But their fans were so upset with how much we were being celebrated as a city and a hockey city. And I think that translated maybe a little bit to some people that worked with the organization. I don't know, Catfish Jake, threw a catfish on the ice. Should he have done it? I don't know. I'll leave that to others to decide. But to actually arrest him and want to hold him overnight, that's a little crazy citywide.
Oh yeah.
With that said, it's hard not to love that passion, right?
Right.
I mean, here they are. They're playing their 4th Stanley Cup in, I don't know, 6, 7, 8 years. Ideally, if they win their 3rd one, 5th overall. Of course, they're fans of passion. And Pittsburgh is one of the great sports cities I've ever been to. I hated it when I was there for that series, of course. But you still kick back a little bit and laugh at the things that the fans were chanting at us. We were sitting with Carrie Underwood in a suite, and we were all laughing at some of the things that were being said, because that's where the passion should stop and end. I mean, sometimes then people take it really oddly and make some weird statements, like some of the media did about the sound, which, I mean, you have to come to any Monday night game in February against a non-great opponent, and you know how loud the building is, how fun it is.
Right.
And there's so many good ones that way. Like, I loved when we played Winnipeg, and let's face it, that series in the second round was the 2 best teams in hockey playing. Went 7 games. What was really cool about it is we get along so well with their management group that we were sharing different ideas, and they created what we did in 2017 and 2018 outside the building, and it was fun to see. And their fans were great to us, and ours were to them. Now, you wanted to win every single shift, every single period of the game. Sports should be fun. They should be passionate. They should stir up emotions, anger, sadness, but most importantly, joy. And it always makes me laugh when people forget that, and want to hold a guy in jail overnight for having a fish strapped to him for 10 hours.
Sean, I tell people all the time that I will never forget that series in Winnipeg, that the atmosphere, besides here, but the atmosphere inside that building and outside, but inside that building with the whiteout and just, it's a smaller building and how loud it was one of the coolest things to be a part of in an opposing rink.
It was absolutely awesome. The parties outside both cities, the way every media person covered both teams in such a, you always say it, like, let's have fun, let's smile, let's be joyful. Yeah. But that's how both cities were. And of course, there were some understories of, hey, this was wrong. You break down the box score, if you will. But the overall love affair the cities had with their teams, for a good stretch in there, from 16 to 19 or 20 for both teams, it was something. And the other night when we played Winnipeg, first, I was texting back and forth before the game, never during the game, to my counterpart with Winnipeg. Because some of my best friends in the world are, they work with other teams, and it's fun to be able to build something. You don't compete. Like, we're never going to compete for a sponsorship or maybe an employee, but in reality, you help each other build the business. You help each other build the game, and that's a commonality in our sport and most sports. We all love the game so much that you work hard on making the game bigger and better all the time. That you have 32 partners, and of course the league as well. You forget about it for 3 hours when you play each other. That's all.
Real quick, one of my favorite events is coming up on Thursday. The Preds Foundation will host the Bruno and Friends Preds and Pins Celebrity Bowling Tournament presented by Delta Airlines at the Hermitage Strike and Spare. I'm blessed enough to be able to participate in this with the coaching staff and raising money for the 365 Pediatric Cancer Fund, presented by Twice Daily and benefiting Monroe Carroll Jr. Children's Hospital at Vanderbilt. Love this event. I know it's a special one, and really looking forward to it on Thursday.
Yeah, it'll be fun. Joe was on my team one year, and I think we finished 3rd from last. So I re-engineered my team this year. Of course, the anchor's my wife. She's from Michigan, so of course she's a great bowler. I think that's all they do up there. And I had tryouts throughout our staff, and I think we have a pretty good team. We have some good eternal fun wagers to see who comes out on top. So you should be in our building the day after to see who has to wear the bowling pin of the losing team. Hopefully it's Bill Wickett again, because I know how much you idolize him. But hopefully you're placed on someone else's team as a celebrity, not mine this year.
Yeah, we'll see, because I want to beat you. I think you and I may have to come up with some sort of friendly wager. So,
Yeah, you name a wager, I'll accept it, because you wanting to do something and you doing something are very different things. So,
wow,
the odds of you beating my team are literally non-existent.
Wow.
There's only one team I'm scared of, and that is the Anheuser-Busch team, because they bring out some bowlers. I think they've won it every year. We finished in second once or twice. And by the way, I'm an awful bowler. I just think I assemble decent bowlers. And of course, I married one of the best there.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll come up with something for sure. Sean, appreciate the time as always. Happy New Year. And we'll be watching tonight, tomorrow, and the rest of this road trip, and see you at the rink on January 11th.
Yeah, let's all have a happy new year. I mean, last year, 24, turned the corner for the team, did some fun, exciting things. Of course, in the summer, we had some fun. And now let's see it all come together and grow. And might as well start that tonight and tomorrow, some back-to-back fun games. So thanks, Chase. I'll see you at the bowling alley. And I look forward to accepting whatever spoils I get from beating you.
All right. Sounds good. Thanks, Sean.
Thanks, guys.
Sean Henry, the CEO of the Nashville Predators, joining us here on the program. Coming up next, there's something cool happening in our city. We'll tell you more about that. It's Chase and Big Joe, presented by the Omni Nashville Hotel on this Friday, 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
What the fuss is all about. She don't know she's beautiful. She don't know she's beautiful.
Chase and Big Joe, broadcasting from the Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning Game Nashville Studios, home of the $99 yearly Beehive membership, where the buzz is always about great service. Here on this Friday, appreciate Sean Henry for joining us. Brett Kern going to join us at the top of the hour, and then Chris Sanders at the bottom of the next hour. But we have a special guest here, Joe.
Yeah, we do a big event happening in a few weeks for Lawson High School. Chase and I are hyper local when it comes to supporting our high schools in Middle Tennessee. Big event taking place in just a few weeks. Tony Vitello, the head baseball coach at Tennessee, is speaking at Lawson High School. Kobe Ginsburg, the head coach at Lawson High School, joins us now. Kobe, good morning. It's a pretty big deal, isn't it?
I mean, it's probably, if you look up good timing in the dictionary, you couldn't get any better than that, don't you think?
Oh, absolutely. What is it about? I mean, this event, first of all, tell us when the event is. How can people go to it? And then talk about your relationship with Tony Vitello.
It's January 26th. It's our first pitch dinner. Tony is going to be our guest speaker. It's at the Loveless Barn at 5:30. I believe the event starts. To get tickets, it's LawsonBaseball.com. No www, just LawsonBaseball.com. And the relationship with Tony, I also coach and run a travel baseball organization called the Knights. And when he got to town, he kind of started a relationship with us. And since then, we've sent a few players, 1 or 2 players his direction. And so, he's always really good to us. And it's great that he's agreed to come to do this with us.
I know you're also good friends with Tim Corbin and a few other baseball coaches around collegiately, but isn't it cool that, Vitello and Corbin are recognized so much and are almost as popular? And I know it's not as popular as football and basketball. I understand that. But when these guys walk into a room, you know that they are in the room.
Oh, absolutely. Especially now. I mean, Tony, he's like the most popular guy in the state of Tennessee, I would say. Like everybody wants a picture with him, and he's a gracious guy. Like he's just a down to earth guy. And, I'm again thankful that he's coming to do this for us.
Again, LawsonBaseball.com, January the 26th at Loveless Cafe, 5:30. What about him? We're talking to Kobe Ginsberg, the head baseball coach at Lawson High School. What about Tony Vitello makes him special in the way that you see him that normally we don't?
He is the true player's coach. Like I said, I've had 6 or 7 kids go there, and they all say they just love playing for the guy. His energy, like he lets them be them, and that's kind of important in this day and age of college baseball. And you remember a few years ago, and Jordan Beck's flipping off guys around his first base and flipping off the center fielder, and not that he condones that, but he just kind of lets them have their own personalities. And I think that's appreciated. And if you watch their teams, even when they warm up on the field, they're all hugging each other. They all have each other's backs. And I think that's why he's had success.
So you need a lot of Vols fans for this event to come out there, because everybody wants to talk to this guy.
Well, you don't have to be a Vols fan. We'll take them all. Right. If you're a Vandy fan, MTSU fan, whatever. If you're a carnivore and you want to come eat a good meal, come on out. And hear Tony speak.
I hear you have an outstanding master of ceremony guy.
Outstanding
is you?
Yeah, it's 1,000% Joe. And he begged me, he's like, hey, please let me do this. And he can't get enough airtime or FaceTime anywhere. So if there's a microphone, Joe's going to get in front of it.
Hey, he's Nashville's media darling for a reason.
Right? Kobe knows
what is
this.
That?
And Kobe, by the way, my great co-host Chase.
Can you come back to me for a second?
Yeah, man. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
All right. My co-host is the mayor of Bellevue. So
yeah,
if you need to get anything passed out there, you need to go through Chase. So just letting you know.
Yeah. So does that mean he's coming to the first pitch dinner too? It's out this way.
I will be. I'll be there.
He has
Awesome.
he has a connection to Loveless Cafe. Chase, tell him what it is.
Well, my grandmother owned it for 30 years. So.
Oh wow.
Not anymore, but did for a very, very, very long time. So I grew up there before that barn was even there.
Yeah, that's what a connection. That's great.
It is. All right, Kobe.
Joe has a connection too. He has the world record for the most banana pudding eaten there too. Did you know that?
I believe it.
He knows that for
I
sure.
believe it.
Kobe, before we go, let us know again, who did you go to high school with? Snoop Dogg?
No, I went to elementary school with Snoop Dogg, and I went to high school with Tiffany Amber Thiessen. I love it every time.
Well, it gives you a little cachet, buddy, for people that want to know.
Does it?
It does. It does.
I think it's more impressive that I say I used to work with Joe Dubin.
That'll get you arrested these days, as you well know. I will though laugh. Remember, we did a thing on TV one time where we got in trouble, and because the boss hated my joke, and you laughed about it. Remember that?
Yeah.
All right, the kid.
No, I do.
I ordered 4 hamburgers and 2 Doritos and a Diet Coke, and the kid's like, "A Diet Coke?" I'm like, "Just shut your mouth." And remember, our vaulted news director's like, "That's not funny." I'm like, "Shut up." All right, good times. Love you, man. We'll see you January 26th. LawsonBaseball.com. First pitch dinner with Tony Vitello. Kobe, I'll see you then, brother.
I appreciate it. You guys have a good one.
You
Thank
too.
you.
Thanks.
I was able in that interview to mispronounce Tony Vitello's name like 6 different ways.
Yeah. So are we going to get Tony Vitello on before this event?
Hell yeah, we are. Kobe, I know you're still listening. Yeah, we're getting Tony on.
Yeah, we need to make that happen.
Okay.
That'd be great
All right.
to have him on. But always love talking hyper local and a great event at Lawson High School out in Bellevue. So looking forward to that. Coming up next, we'll talk some Titans. Our man Brett Kern usually joins us on Mondays, but obviously a lot going on this week with the Music City Bowl and the holiday. He will join us now here on Chase and Big Joe, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Hour number 2, Chasing Big Joe, 102.5, 106.3, The Game. The Titans, or are they the Oilers, take on the Houston Texans to mercifully wrap up the 2024-2025 season. We say hello now to Brett Kern, former Titans punter who joins us on the program. Brett, I guess 2014 was probably the best example for you, but I have a feeling there's some guys in that locker room that once that game's done on Sunday, they're going to go, thank you, Lord.
Yeah. I'm trying to remember what was 2014, the 2-14, and then we followed up with a beefy 3-13 season.
Yep.
I'm trying to remember.
Yep.
Don't really like to recall either of those years. But yeah, I mean, when it's over with, there's definitely a relief. It's a long season. I mean, anytime you only get 3 wins, hopefully they get 4. I know people are talking about the draft order and all that stuff, but I mean, clearly, the Titans are still fighting. They're still playing like they want to win. They want a W, and I don't think, if you can go into the off season with a win, I think that'd be, confidence for some guys, especially the guys that are coming back.
Yeah, this is the week where I kind of look around the league and I go, there's going to be some guys that get in the huddle and go, Cancun on 3. Let's go.
Yeah. I mean, I'll be honest with you guys, 2014, I had a golf trip planned with about 4 weeks left. And so, I remember sometimes, you go out there for an extra point, they're reviewing the touchdown, and I'd be talking to Suckup and, Bo Brinkley, Snapper, and we'd be talking about the golf trip, while they were reviewing the touchdown. So yeah, I'm sure there's some guys that have some stuff planned and whatnot, but I know I'm sure Coach Callahan has them focused in just to finish strong in this game, especially finishing against the Texans. So
what's kind of your thoughts about, and we're going to learn more about this today when he speaks, but he said earlier in the week that he plans to play both Will Levis and Mason Rudolph, which is a little unusual for the NFL to kind of rotate in a regular season game. I mean, it definitely feels like a preseason game, but do you find that to be beneficial for him to play both quarterbacks in the last game of the season?
I mean, what do you have to lose, right? I mean, I don't know. I mean, you saw Will come back when he took a little bit of a break when he came back and how he responded. And, Mason, I thought, he's doing pretty well. He's had some interceptions that, you look at the Jacksonville one and it's tipped and then it goes through Julius's hands. And, Jacksonville set up with some great field position. So that's not, on him. It's just an unfortunate bounce happened in the Indianapolis game too. And, so I don't know. I mean, you have nothing to lose. Why not play them both? Mason's a free agent after this year, right? And so I think obviously there's a lot of decisions that have to be made. 30, 35 guys, are free agents. Some guys that I'm sure they'd love to have back, some big names that they'd love to come back, and so why not play them both, right? You have nothing to lose. Both kind of bring a different element, especially if the conditions are going to be pretty dicey. So I totally understand it. Why not play it? Last game of the year, go for it.
We were talking to Brett Kern on the Chase and Big Joe show. Brett, a few moments now, we need to talk about Toledo and Pitt in the bowl game.
Oh, what a game, huh? I almost thought about taking the family up there to go watch it. Detroit's not really a must destination in December, but just with flights and all that kind of stuff, it didn't work out. But we watched it on TV, and man, it kind of had not quite the Georgia Tech game. I think that went to 8 overtimes, but man, I tell you what, it was a great game, great bowl game, back and forth, and to see the overtime, and Toledo celebrated twice, I think, prematurely.
Right.
So I don't know if there's many people at the game to go storm the field, but yeah, it was a great game, great bowl game.
When Pittsburgh had the ball 4th and 1 from like the half-yard line and kicked the field goal, I was like, what are you doing? And then, they're both boneheaded decisions on both sides, but Toledo stood tall and won. I mean, it might have been the best, probably top 3 bowl games so far.
Yeah. I mean, the coach, what's the coach for Pittsburgh? What's his name? Probably not a big analytics guy, because I think analytics would have told you to go for it,
right,
100% in that situation. But yeah, I mean, it was back and forth, and I'd probably say, I haven't watched a ton of bowl games, but obviously to watch that one, I was like, this has to be one of the great games. And thankfully, the year prior, we had our starting quarterback. He hit the portal before the game, and we had a couple other guys hit the portal, and it's just unfortunate. I mean, it gives other guys opportunities to play the game, which is great because they stepped up and played. But this year they had a lot of guys come back and just kind of wanted to finish the season, because I know, Toledo, for us, it's MAC championship or bust, right? And so just fell short of that this year. So I think guys just wanted to come back and finish strong.
Good. And they got the win. That's good. We were talking earlier about greatest moments in Titans history. Chase's ones when Baronis in the field goal beat the Colts. Mine's when Gary Anderson at 84 years old kicked that field goal to beat the Ravens. And you sent Chase a picture of, was it the 2016 game where you're the holder and you beat Kansas City, right?
No, this was against Pittsburgh. This was
2012. 2012. Sorry.
Yeah, 2012, that overtime, when Rob hit the overtime, I think it was 40-ish, 41, 40, low 40s, Thursday Night Football. And I remember that game big time because it was obviously national TV, and Antonio Brown was the returner. And I remember we held him to like under 15 yards of returns.
Nice.
I was super excited about that game. But that was a great moment to beat the Steelers in overtime. But yeah, there's so many ones that I've been blessed to be a part of. Obviously Suck Up, hitting that field goal, that 52, 53 yarder in absolutely freezing weather in Arrowhead to keep our playoff hopes alive. And I still always go back to that playoff run in 2019, going up there and beating New England the way we did. And, especially in the fourth quarter when we did the false start on the punt and backed it up, and we burned, minute and a half, almost 2 minutes off the clock by, delay game, right. A false start, back to another false start, and Belichick was just beside himself on the sideline. And I think Vrabel was trying not to laugh hysterically on the sidelines because, we knew exactly what we were doing. But, to beat New England and then, to follow that week to go on the road to Baltimore, the number one seed, and take care of business up there. That was pretty special. So, but there's a ton of special moments, a lot of big games, and I think you had a caller earlier or text in, the Arizona game. I remember that game, 2009. Where we scored. I think Kenny Britt scored on like the last play of the game. So that was pretty crazy too. That comeback in the fourth quarter. So. A lot of good moments.
Did you ever think a moment, as you reflect back now with your time in the Mike Vrabel, that he right now is currently the hottest head coach candidate in the National Football League? Did you know when you first met him, and he matured into it? He definitely is the hottest head coach that teams want. But him going forward, is this going to work wherever he lands? Brett, you were with him for 4 or 5 seasons.
Yeah, I mean, when he first started out. Like I said, I've told you guys before, his team meetings would be half hour, 45 minutes, and you talk ball the whole time. He went through all the situations, how to execute, maybe how a team would not execute and, kind of where they went wrong and, just situationally being prepared in in a lot of areas that, I'm thinking to myself, I'm in, year 12, 13. I'm like, man, coach, I've never had this come up, kind of like that free kick, in the Chargers game, first time it's happened since like 1973. But that was something that was always talked about, right? Because he always wanted to be prepared in situations and not playing dumb football, right? That was kind of his MO. So always very prepared, very knowledgeable. And it doesn't surprise me that his name's popping up and he's the hottest candidate because he's a good football coach.
So you and I were kind of texting the other night during the Texas game, and the guy Auburn misses the field goal there at the end that would have won it for Texas. They end up going into overtime, and you kind of made a comment about the hold. How many times did you go through, like, in your head, a big kick's coming, game on the line, don't screw up the hold, because that's the last – you want it all on the kicker at this point. Like, you don't want to screw up the hold.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, I think when Stark went over to the kicker and said something to, like, had that little heart-to-heart, like, as a player, that would have bothered me because –
I knew right then and there he was going to miss it.
Yeah, for the specialist, for whether it's, me punting or, the kicker's kicking, it's just you're in its rhythm and routine, and you kind of have this mental, approach. You do the same thing every time. And so for him to come over and kind of get him out of that and to have this conversation with him, I was like, oh man, this guy's toast. And so, there's that element to it, that because obviously Stark doesn't do that every time. And so, it kind of made the play feel a lot different for him if I had to guess. But, yeah, I mean, when it comes down to holding, I remember my rookie year in Denver, the special teams coach, he fired 200 jugs jug machine holds at me every day at practice. And that was back when it was 2 days, right? You could practice in the morning, practice in the afternoon, full pads, do whatever you wanted to. Wild West in training camp. And so, I mean, it was just hold after hold after hold, and it just became second nature. And so, a lot of times you're going out there for a big hold or big kick, and you just do it so many times that it just becomes second nature. And I think, understanding too the conditions and the elements, and I think when it was like raining, if it was cold, I just had to make sure my hands were dry, hands were warm, because the last thing you want is to catch a snap and the laces are pointing directly back at the kicker and your hands are too cold to spin it around. And now like the Texas game, the laces are at 9:00 on the clock and he hooks it left. Well, the laces are the heaviest part of the ball, so if the laces are at 9:00, that ball's gonna hook. So obviously when the conditions aren't right, you might, in your head, you're thinking a little bit more, hey, this needs to be a really, really good hold. So, when he's kicking it, he has every opportunity to make it.
Well, and am I right in saying, like, Rob probably wanted it a certain way, Suckup wanted it a certain way, like kickers have their ways that they want the ball?
Yeah, well, I'll tell you what, I remember when I got released in Denver and then I came to the Titans, I went out there and that Rob was like fresh off of, tying the NFL record or setting the NFL record. He had like 8 field goals in a game or something like that. And so obviously I knew who Rob was. I respected him a ton because he was, Pro Bowl, all-pro kicker. And so I remember coming to practice and I was a little nervous first time. Cause I'm like, this is, a big job, right? Holding for the guy of this caliber. And so I remember getting the first snap from Kenny Amato and I put it down and I thought I had the tilt right. And as Rob was kicking it, he goes, nope, and boom, hits the ball. And I look up, I'm like, what? Did he just say something to me while he was kicking it? He's like, hey, that had too much tilt. Wow, okay. So I get the next one. Kenny snaps it back, put it down, and he's about ready to kick it. He's like, good, boom, ball's gone. He's like, yep, that was good, perfect. He was so detailed with how he held it. And I could tell too, if I was off a little bit, the ball would have a little bit more of a hook, might have a little bit more of a cut, and then you get to, Ryan Suckup, and he was just as detailed. And, so you have to learn, how to hold it for them in a situation because you don't want to hold it wrong and it might hook it a little bit more. He's expecting me, to have a perfect hold so that he knows he can be, perfect with his technique to make the kick. So, everybody got a little crazy that year that we kind of went through 5 or 6 kickers because I had moments in practice where like, well, wait a second, that was for that kicker. My bad. Sorry. But, yeah, I mean, everybody's different and, just had to be consistent and stay detailed for what each guy liked.
I know you've told us before, but McAfee talks about him getting blown up and by Troy Polamalu. Do you have that moment? I think you've told us that. Do you have a moment where some guy hit you so hard you saw God?
Yeah, it was that fake field goal against Tampa Bay, and thank goodness the refs blew the whistle because I fumbled about 6 inches before I hit the ground. It was about 6 feet deep in that grass at Nissan Stadium. That was we had practiced that fake field goal so many times, and just following Taylor Lewan, and like, man, this has got a real good chance. And so I remember Tampa, there was 2.5 minutes left in the game, 3 minutes, and I think we were winning. I'm like, oh, this is gonna work. So I roll out. There's Devin White, bam, sends me into Rutherford County. I had to go to the I've never been hit that hard in my life, and I had to go to the chiropractor like 4 times that week. Couldn't move my neck. Man, it was I felt that one. So
I remember. Wasn't there one you hurt your shoulder or something, or was that it?
I think everything hurt on that hit.
Wait, why did it work?
Because Devin White was supposed to follow Michael Pruitt into the flat on the right side. Michael ran a little out to the flat, and that was Devin's guy. And Devin, I started rolling out to my left, and Devin, being the smart football player that he is, like, this punter's not going to stop and throw it across the field. I'm going to go light him up. So if you watch the film, Michael is wide open in the flat.
Oh, no.
Here comes Devin just steamrolling, and bam, he smokes me. And that was, and then I think Jameis Winston, he came out like 3 plays later, threw a pick, And then we tried to run the ball 3 times in a row to kind of run the clock down. And I had to go out and punt again. I just remember walking out there like, I don't know where this ball's going to go. I feel so stiff, and I'm hurting. I think I just hit like a little liner out of bounds and just walked off the field. So
Nice.
What did Vrabel say about you taking that hit?
I honestly don't remember. He was probably laughing so hard inside that I got smoked. Yeah, that one hurt. And I remember later that night watching Sunday Night Football, and I think I got up on the couch and I was so. But it gives me a lot of respect to the guys that take those hits every day. And like I said, that's why, when I was in high school and nobody wanted to punt or kick, I raised my hand to avoid situations like that. So,
yeah. Oh man, that's good. Brett, appreciate the time as always. Happy New Year. And let's get this season over with and then see what happens next.
Yeah. Sounds off to off-season draft talk. Sounds great.
Yeah, for sure. All right. Thanks, Brett.
Bye.
Brett Kern, former Titans punter, joining us. I remember that too. He did get lit up. I remember that one for sure.
I hate Brett. We love you, but we all love to see somebody get legally
well, sure. Yeah.
blasted.
Sure.
And he got blasted.
Chris Sanders will join us at the bottom of the hour. More coming here on Chasing Big Joe, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Chasing Big Joe, 1025, 1063 The Game here on this Friday.
You can find Chase McCabe and Ricky Merritt tonight doing the tush push at Nashville Palace to this song, starting at 8 o'clock, two-stepping lessons at 9 o'clock, and then the Nick Frazier experiment takes over at 10 to noon, or 10 to midnight tonight. So good times.
Appreciate Brett Kern for joining us. He just sent me a couple of pictures. Look at this one of him just getting tackled.
I mean, he should be arrested for that hit. Good Lord.
The look on Brett's face is like his life is flashing before his eyes.
Oh, man.
Oh, man. Look, this is even better.
We watched the clip. Doesn't the announcer say, what does a kicker think he can run or something along those lines?
I mean, that's the other thing, Brett. Like, I love you, man, but watching him try to run there, like, it looks worse than me trying
it
to run.
does. Yeah, it was Baldinger, right?
The announcer said he runs like a kicker.
Yeah, I think it was Baldinger that said that.
Oh, that's great.
They did. He rolls out, and here's Devin White, just bam. And he fumbled, too. I forgot it was a fumble.
I mean, nobody fell for the fake, right? Because there's
No.
like 7 guys chasing him over there. And, Brett,
No.
you did fumble, but that's okay, though.
It's all right. The effort was certainly there. And I have a feeling, knowing Mike Vrabel, like we know Mike Vrabel, he's mad at the time, but then when he went back and watched it later, he's
Right.
just sitting there laughing.
Well, of course he's laughing at that. Absolutely, man.
Like, well, there you go.
I'd like to go out one day and because I long snap wasn't great, but in college, but I would like to go out one day and do it with you and Dr. Crane. You be a holder. Because I'm telling
Okay.
you, Brett Kern is being very humble. That is a very difficult and pressure-filled job that I think 99.8% of the people can't do.
What would be fun is if we could, and between us, we could find a field to do this. Get Brett to come out and Derek, and have Derek back to return, and you can long snap, and Brett can punt. It'd be kind of fun.
That sounds like a really fun day.
It will be.
I'll be a gunner. I'm cool with that.
All right.
Yeah.
I'm fine with that.
Well, I
Dr.
got
Crane's a gunner.
to after I snap, I got to run down the field too.
Yeah, but nobody can line up over you, though.
That's right. So Derek Mason, if we get Brett to hang it up, and no fair catch. So Derek, you can't fair catch it, and David James can be the other gunner. And it'll take him about a day to get down there, but that's all right.
You say a day and a half.
But Derek, no fair catches on that. Brett's talked about this. From the time the snapper gets on an extra point, the snapper to the holder, it's got to be, I think, 0.3 seconds.
Yeah.
It's that fast. And to a punt, I think it's 0.75. So you get that ball that fast, that quick, and spin it around and get it set up. That's why we all laughed during Ace Ventura, like, laces out, Dan. That was all like, that actually put spotlight on holders of putting the ball down right and correctly because there's a correct way to do it. And Brett Kern is one of the best to have ever done it.
Oh, yeah. I mean, and look, you just that's why I like talking to him, because you miss how important certain things are on special teams.
Yeah.
And just everything that goes into it. Like Justin and Greenbrier on our text line, driven by WilsonCountyHoney.com, says Brett brings up something many of us don't usually think about as fans, the special teams coach going out there and doing things in such a repetition so that it becomes second nature. The past few seasons, the Titans have experienced some rotten special teams. I don't think we appreciate the good coaches and players that complete the football team. When the pillars aren't strong enough, like the offensive line and special teams, the rest of the team struggles. That's
Great
spot
point.
on.
That's exactly
Yeah.
right. Yeah.
And I mean, you look at those days. I mean, obviously, Alan Lowry is one of the best to ever do it, under Jeff Fisher as a special teams coach. But the Titans were blessed for a long time to have good special teams, and they haven't in the last few years.
You are correct. Some news happening right now in the college football world. Alabama has fired their co-defensive coordinator, Colin Hitchler.
I
per
saw that.
ESPN, and it says some Alabama DBs are celebrating their coach. It's off BetMGM's tweet. Some Alabama DBs are celebrating their coach getting fired.
Yeah, I saw that, and I also saw that Vols wide receiver Mike Matthews is returning to the program. He had said he was going to enter the portal, and
Who's the one that was going to Vanderbilt? Was that Jordan Matthews?
well, Jordan Matthews has already been at Vanderbilt.
Yeah, and there's another Jordan Matthews who
Oh,
left
is there?
Tennessee to go there.
I don't know. Mike Matthews is the one that I'm reading about.
Okay.
So,
All right, it's crazy. But anyway, so part here, a little bit of the dominoes start to fall. And of course, NFL will do it on Monday. I mean, it'll be that Monday show. If the Titans win on Sunday, and then Monday the word starts getting out about coaches and things are happening, could be a chaotic fun day.
oh, it will be. I mean, it always is. If you're Mike McCarthy, your favorite phrase is "stay one step ahead of the jailer." Do you? I mean, his contract's up. Do you just go ahead and get in front of this and go get another job?
I mean, Jerry says he's good.
Jerry hasn't. I mean, he keeps saying like, yeah, we like Mike McCarthy, but he hadn't signed him to an extension or anything.
Mike McCarthy became a head coach for the Packers in 06, I believe. So that means for 18, 19 seasons, he's been a head coach. If you still want to coach, that's great. But
I think he's going to end up being a coach, but I could see him getting one of these other jobs that are already open and just getting out of Jerry's, just not have to deal with it anymore.
I think Vrabel would be great in Dallas.
He would, but he'd get tired of Jerry real quick. I mean, I don't know. Like I can't wait for one day when he's done and he writes a book, and because I'd love to know about what it was like dealing with her.
You know who's been awfully quiet these last week or so is Dion.
Yeah.
I don't know. Part of me thinks that next week he's an NFL coach. I don't know why. Just part of me thinks he's an NFL coach.
Could be interesting.
Yeah.
I think because I think Vrabel ends up in New England. I think Bob Kraft's going to do it. I think Bob Kraft is going to look at it and go, you know what? That's who I wanted all along. I'm gonna bring him home. I just have a feeling that it could happen. But the other thing to watch too is some of these teams like Philadelphia that make the playoffs. If they get beat in the first round, I think he gets fired. So
that's why we love it. It's
Yep.
it's men's reality show.
It is
all this is.
chaos for sure. Coming up next, we'll talk more Titans, more ball with our man Chris Sanders. Do that coming up next. It's Chasing Big Joe here on a Friday, broadcasting from the Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning Game Nashville Studios, home of the $99 yearly Beehive membership, where the buzz is always about great service. Join Jared Stillman, Derek Mason, and our next guest, Chris Sanders, at John Bon Jovi's in downtown Nashville this Sunday for the award-winning pregame show, the season finale from 9:30 to 11:30, as they break down the Oilers' Week 18 matchup against the Texans and give you the latest updates before the game. The pregame show is presented by Parman Tractor and Equipment, Sundeck Nashville, Sloan's Motorcycle ATV, and award-winning Blue Note Juke Joint and Blue Note Crossroads Bourbon. And it is Chris that we're looking for as the season mercifully will come to an end on Sunday. Hello, Chris.
Man, how are you doing? You know, I can't wait. If the Tennessee Titans win this Sunday, I can't wait to see how Jared responds. I mean, I can't wait. That's going to be my highlight of the start of the year is how Jared responds if the Tennessee Titans
Well,
win.
you know how he's going to respond. And look, he's not going to be the only one. Because I think with a win, they'd go from picking second to like 6th or 7th.
Oh, but what do you see? This is a sticky situation. What do you do as a player when you're playing for a job and you're playing for other teams and you're trying to, make it in this league? What do you do? And then the one statement that I hate too is go ahead and tank the season. If you tank the season, the team may win, but you may lose and be out of a job.
Yeah, no, look, I look at it like this. You go out there and you play your butt off. And
absolutely,
if you win the game, you win the game. You go out on a high note. I think because I look at the whole season.
Sure.
I don't think that this team has never not played their butt off. I just don't think they're good. That's just, and at the end of the day, and I'm sure as a player, it sucks to hear that, but at the end of the day, you're just not, you've given it your all. You're just not good enough. And that's the problem.
And that's the key. I mean, it's not that you're not trying hard. You're not trying to make the tackle, trying to make the catch, or trying to make the throw. It's just a lot of the decisions that are going on, and it starts with the quarterback play. You look at Will Levis when they played Chicago. They played the Green Bay Packers. They played all these teams. What was the key factor in all the games? It was the quarterback play, the decision of the quarterback. So you go in the offseason. If you win this game, you go in the offseason with a little bit of mojo to go. You get your quarterback. You get some playmakers and build the depth of this roster. And then now you give the fan base something to kind of hope for.
Do you find it odd that he's going to go with both quarterbacks?
In his game? I didn't know he was. I didn't know he was doing it. He's going. Oh my goodness!
He's going to kind of spell it out today of what the plan is. But he said earlier in the week that both Rudolph and Levis were going to play.
Yeah, and the thing about it is, I think they're both on audition to see who's going to be coming back and who's not coming back. And I think that next year, if they bring a quarterback in and they go get a veteran in the free agency wise or get a quarterback in the draft, there's going to be some competition at that area. So I think they're evaluating these guys, and we kind of know, no disrespect, we kind of know what we have in Levis and we kind of know what we have in Rudolph. It's just who they're going to keep and who's going to stay and who's going to go.
Our good buddy Chris Sanders. Hey, I missed you last Sunday at Twin Peaks.
Yeah, it was my anniversary, man.
Happy anniversary, buddy.
Yeah, my first year anniversary. Oh no, Mama said, you staying with me.
All right, yeah. Derek and I had a good time. No screaming. You'll get back to screaming this Sunday when Jared shows up. So,
oh my gosh,
all that. So you'll have fun with that.
Sir.
Let me ask you this: do you remember the last professional football game you played in?
Yes. It was. You know what? My last professional football game was right before 9/11 happened, and that was my last game. And I remember vaguely is we were playing somebody, and we lost. I think it was the Cleveland Browns. And then the following couple of weeks, that's when I hurt my back, and then that was kind of basically my career was over. So I remember that day to where that actually happened.
Was that here? Were you the Titans or the Browns in?
No, I was with the Titans, but then see the thing about it is I went to the Browns, but then I came back and retired as a Tennessee Titan, but I never got on the field again because I hurt my back. I wasn't 100%. I was just kind of one of those guys just trying to hang on and try to live out the glory days a little bit more. I couldn't run, I couldn't cut because my back was totally messed up.
Right, and I just because there are some guys tomorrow or this weekend who are playing football for the last time, and as you know, it's a big adjustment, right?
It is a huge adjustment. It's kind of like going on a highway like 100 miles an hour and just coming to a complete stop. And, when I retired, the adjustment process is hard because you went from playing football as a little league and playing in high school and playing in college. And then you get to the pros, then all of a sudden you got to hang the cleats up. And people don't understand that when you're in football, when you're going through 2 days, when you're going through these things, sometimes you got to step back and value what you're in. And I think a lot of times when we go through the routine, we're like, oh, I got to go to practice. I got to go to meetings. But, man, I would love to strap it up. I would love to run a slam route. I would love to run a go route. I would love to get hit by Ray Lewis because you love the competitiveness of the game.
Yeah, I mean, and you've talked about that too, as you go back and just like appreciate where you were at some point. And I don't think, I don't think we all did, Chris. I think
Yeah.
very few of us like,
Man.
I'll be back next year to play. And then reality, you're not.
Yeah, and you're one play away from being hurt for your career. And it happened when I was lifting before practice. And I was lifting before practice, and I feel a little twinge. My back goes out, and part of my disc broke off, was crushed my sciatic nerve, so my whole left side wasn't working. And my career was done. I didn't even get hit or anything. So you're one play away from not even playing again. So if I ever work in the NFL and I coach receivers or do player development, I'm going to make sure these guys are ready beyond football, because I talk to different guys that I play with. The life starts after football. And that's why I want to get into these things, because football is fun. We know what NFL stands for. It stands not for long, because you're not going to be in there that long.
You're right. Do you ever wake up in the middle of the night in cold sweat and feel like Jim Washburn's yelling at you? Right?
Oh, no, but here's the funny thing. I wish I could. I wish Washburn could yell at me. I wish Les Steckel could say, I'm coming out of stands if you don't block. I want that, because, it's kind of like, can I just be honest? It's kind of like sometimes it feels like taking away oxygen. And it's like when you're watching, football, you miss the game. You miss being in the locker room with Derek Mason and eating Krispy Kreme on Saturday, watching Bruce Matthews, get ready for the Super Bowl, watching Bud Adams cry when we go to the AFC Championship game. You're seeing guys, in the locker room where you bled, you sweat, you cried. You miss those days. We don't talk about the football stuff. We miss the relationships.
So here's a fun one for you. Calvin Ridley's 59 yards away from 1,000. And for a receiver, that's a huge milestone. You think they're going to feed him the ball early?
Yeah, I think he's going to get that in probably the first 15 plays. I mean, and the reason why I would say that is just get him the record and let him just, have something to feel good about going off the off season. Because if you look at the whole season, one of the bright spots was Calvin Ridley and also, Tony Pollard. So to get, really 1,000 yards, it'll be an accomplishment, not just for the team, but it'll be an accomplishment because he started so slow at the beginning of the season, and now he has a chance to get 1,000 yards.
So he would be the 6th player in franchise history to accomplish that in his first season with the team. He'd be the 3rd Titan to do it.
I think it'll be good. I think it'll be good. I mean, Brian Callahan and Nick Holtz is going to make sure they feed him, even if it's not just catching a big touchdown over top. Get him a couple of bubbles, give him a couple of hitches, and let him make some plays. So I think it'll be great for Calvin Ridley because the season was so dismal this year.
I would love it, not love it, but if there was an edict from high above to say, don't play Calvin Ridley on Sunday because of that. Would that not? I think Jared Stillman would have a heart attack.
Oh.
I think we'd all lose our mind because then we what is going on? Is it $100,000 he gets or $500?
I don't know.
Whatever his bonus is. Could you imagine if that happened? I would love it. I want it to happen just for the chaos.
But see, here's the crazy part about it is I was with my last game. We were playing against the Buffalo Bills, and I needed I think 56 yards to get a $50,000 bonus. So I'm not catching the ball during the game. I'm like, oh my gosh. So I run a post route, and then Steve McNair scrambles and he throws it deep, and it was a 57-yard catch.
Yes.
Do you know I almost hugged the ref and bought him some Cracker Jacks and give him? I mean, it was seriously. I know sometimes we don't think about that, but if you go back and watch my highlight, we're playing the Buffalo Bills. You can even see this on my Facebook page. I catch it against the Buffalo Bills and watch me basically hug the ref like, thank you.
So here's according to CBS Sports, a couple of incentives for a Titan. Running back Tony Pollard needs 83 rushing yards to hit a $250,000 bonus. He can make another $200,000 if he records 2 rushing touchdowns.
Oh goodness!
Oh, I'll be like, what's that guy that said, "Give me the darn ball"?
Yeah.
What was that? Terrell Owens.
Yep.
I like, give me the doggone ball, man. But and I know Tony Pollard's not playing for the money, but that's you can get a whole bunch of biggie bags for that. I mean, definitely to get that. I mean, he worked hard for it. I mean, he's done the work. He's paid his dividends. He played hurt. So why not reward him by getting him 83 yards and get really 59 yards?
Here you go, Chris. As a receiver for the Bucks, wide receiver Mike Evans can make $3 million on top of his 2025 salary by recording 5 catches and 85 yards in Week 18.
Oh my God, Lord have mercy.
He'll have that in the first half.
Hey, so Ben on 102.5. What's my sentence?
Chris, we got to run on that. I can't hear you. You're breaking up. Your incentives are we just appreciate you.
No, man, I'm kidding. It is a joy to do the show, man. It is. You know I'm joking. I am completely joking.
Oh, I know. I like messing with you back. Hey, Chris, we will be listening on Sunday. Appreciate it as always.
Appreciate you, man. Y'all have a great one. Love you guys.
You too. Chris Sanders, forever Titans wide receiver, joining us on the program. And the final edition of the pregame show for this season will happen on Sunday, 9:30 to 11:30 at JBJ's downtown. Coming up next, we'll tell you what day it is, celebrity birthdays, here on 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Chasing Big Joe, 102.5, 106.3 The Game on this Friday. Does this take you back to taking your daughter to see One
my
Direction?
gosh. I got PTSD off this, man, because I wanted to enjoy the show with her, so I learned all these songs. But, man.
So I'll never forget, we were doing, it was the old Greg and Big Joe show, Greg Pogue and Big Joe show. And I was producing, and Joe comes walking in the next morning, half asleep. And we were like, long night. And he goes, I took my daughter to One Direction because Hannah was probably what, 12?
She would have been at that time 14, I think,
yeah.
roughly.
So somewhere in that. And he took her to One Direction. And then basically every break, hey, play this song, play this song.
Oh, man, it was something else. But thankfully, those days are over. But I tell people.
Now you can take your granddaughter.
I had a friend of mine that hated things that his daughter was into. That's stupid. That's dumb. And I'm like, why do you do that? Embrace what your kids love. It helps your relationship, enjoys time with them. I told you this. The Twilight movies, I know every character. I've seen those movies 1,000 times because I sat with my daughter. We watched, we talked, we laughed. It was just, you make how you want to make things happen. And I want to make that perfect with her. And it cost me nothing to do all that. Yep. Rant done.
Yep. There you go. With that, let's get to what day is it and celebrity birthdays.
All right, gentlemen. First on the list we have is Festival of Sleep Day. So if you enjoy sleeping,
sign me up.
Is that when you close your eyes and get good rest?
That is
okay.
Correct. Yes, sir.
Look into that.
After that, we have Humiliation Day. So not a fan. Let's see. J.R.R. Tolkien Day. There's that.
It's that. Yeah,
English writer.
Yeah, the nerd novels about Middle Earth, right, and all that stuff.
World War I. Yeah, sure.
Is it?
The author? That's who that is. Yeah.
Okay.
He writes. He's an English writer.
Yeah, I know he is.
Okay. Just making sure. Let's see. Memento Mori. That's next after that. Wish I could tell you more, Joe. I don't know.
Okay.
National Chocolate Covered Cherry Day. Not a fan of this. Disgusting.
Why not?
I don't think cherry as a candy should be mixed with chocolate. It's not it. Okay. But regular cherries, like the natural ones that grow on trees, sure. Let's see. National Drinking Straw Day. That's next. National Right to Congress Day.
Oh, yeah.
You could do
right
that. And then to wrap it all off, we have Woman Rock Day. So that's about it.
Like Pat Benatar?
Yeah.
Woman Rock?
It just says Woman Rock and an exclamation point day.
Or Women Rock.
Yeah.
Women Rock, yeah.
There's a lot of difference to that.
Joan Jett, baby.
Yeah.
Joan
I
Jett.
think it just means women rock. Like you rule.
Oh, that's right. Would you vote for Mary Bailey for governor? All right, time for...
We're a Mary Bailey family.
Oh, my goodness.
Simpsons.
We're going to send a message. All right, here we go.
All those bad cat stuff.
Sorry, we go on Simpsons rants on this show. All right, here we go. Time for celebrity birthdays. You got to get these within 2 years. First birthday, actor, director. I think he's fantastic. Mel Gibson. How old is Mel Gibson today? He's got a new movie coming out with Mark Wahlberg that looks really good.
77.
73.
69.
Nice.
Danica McKellar. She was on the show The Wonder Years. She was his crush on The Wonder Years. Danica McKellar.
55.
61.
50. You guys, man. Down some more here. Don't know who this is. I've never heard of this girl, and they say she's famous. One girl that says we're all going to die, Greta Thunberg. How the climate change, you're all going to die, blah, blah, blah. Remember her?
45.
Oh, she's the young kid. Yeah.
Yep.
I'm going to go 19.
22. How dare you? All right, here we go. From Crosby, Stills, and Nash, Stephen Stills.
79.
74.
80. Chase on the board, 1-0. One of the great bass players of all time, John Paul Jones of Led Zeppelin.
78.
69.
79. Chase up 2-0. From Dallas, actress Victoria Principal. She used to be engaged to Andy Gibb.
74.
67.
Chaser popping the outside corner. 75. 3-0.
Just call me a young Greg Maddox.
Thomas Bangalter from Daft Punk.
Excuse me.
He's one of the two Daft Punk lead men. Thomas Bangalter.
What a name.
Yeah.
47.
42.
50. I think this girl's from Nashville, former singer and former American Idol contestant, Kimberly Locke.
38.
34.
47. Let's see here. Keep on going down here. All right, nobody there. All right, time to give the sports birthdays. Jim Everett, former Houston Oiler. Jim Everett.
That
Don't do it. Don't call me Chris.
yeah, that's what I was.
He's actually part of the Herschel Walker trade in some weird way.
Yeah, I'm gonna say 62.
71.
61. Chase McKay popping the outside corners up 4-0. One of the great basketball players of all time, Cheryl Miller.
63.
65.
60. IndyCar driver or race car driver, Michael Schumacher.
F1 driver.
F1 driver. F you, buddy.
53.
55.
55 exactly. It's 4-2. Down to our final two. He made one of the best catches in the Super Bowl ever. David Tyree for the New York Giants. How old is David Tyree?
Bubblegum. I'm gonna say 41.
45.
44. It's 4-3. I love this. Down to our final birthday. Funny, it's David Tyree was before this. Eli Manning. Today is Eli Manning's birthday. Chaser, you're up 4-3.
43.
44.
43 exactly. Chase wins 6-3. Well done. It's also Bud Adams' birthday. Bud would have been 102 today. And not to forget, Cuckoo Marlin's birthday today.
Okay.
Couple legends there in our backyard.
Starlin's dad.
It is.
Cuckoo. Well, all right. Good show, good week, short week, but we're back at it full strength next week. We'll who knows what's going to happen Monday when it comes to the Titans. With all the coaches and everything, but we will be here starting at 9. DVD coming up next.
Yeah, as we'll be here on Monday. Should be a lot of fun. Hey, listen, our message we had in 24, we're doubling down in 25 to our men out there. If you are struggling, need to talk on your cell phone, dial 988 or call 988. No matter what you do, please talk to somebody. If you got a dark cloud, you're feeling bad, please reach out to us or someone. And we tell you all the time that you are loved so much. We love you. Your journey is beautiful. There's bumpy roads. Nobody promised it'd be perfect, but you're perfect. And we want you to know that we love you. And more importantly, God loves you.
Amen to that. Peace, love, rock and roll. D-Mace, Vingan, and Donick coming up next. 102.5, 106.3.